Hey guys, today I'll be taking a quick look at the Polsimer F74 LED version. If any of you, like me, have just ordered a direct drive wheelbase, you will realize how expensive all the aftermarket rims and button boxes are. That's part of the reason I was so excited when I finally found this company, Polsimer. It's a small Polish company and they produce really affordable but still really well built rims. So the first thing I noticed when taking it out of the box is it's very sturdy. The front is made out of aluminum, and the back does have 3D printing in it, but it's a very, very well done job, and after mounting it to my wheelbase, there is zero flex, even when pulling as hard as I possibly can. I ended up putting the full 20 Newton meters of my wheelbase into this wheel, and there was really no flexing, no creaking. I was kind of surprised because I was expecting the 3D printing to have some give, but the way they designed it, it doesn't really bend laterally at all, so really happy with that. And I don't usually drive at 20 Newton meters anyways, more about 10 Newton meters or so. Coming from a 320 millimeter rim, I really like this the smaller size, especially in ACC and for driving F1 cars and the likes. 290 millimeters is just really perfect. I was initially worried about ordering a rim with rubber handles instead of Alcantara, but I have to say these are really comfy. I race both with gloves and without gloves, just depending on what mood I'm in, and it works perfectly well either way. The material is kind of dimpled, so it gives you a good grip. Doesn't make you sweat during the race, and there's very little give to it. It's just squishy enough where it's comfortable, but there's no flex when you're driving. I happen to have giant hands, and the grips fit me just fine. It was super snug fit, and really happy with the way the grips are shaped. The shifter position is also really perfect for me. I'm able to rest my knuckles in between the grip and the shifter, and there's a lot of clearance, so my knuckles don't rub on the shifter like I was worried they were going to. And they are the perfect reach for me. Speaking of the shifters, I am really, really happy with the magnetic shifters. I've actually never tried magnetic shifters before. I was just using the regular clicky shifters on my T300 RS, and these are a massive, massive upgrade from those. I did end up ordering some aftermarket neodymium magnets and adding them on the back of the original magnets just for some extra shifting strength. And I'll show you a comparison of those, of the different sounds between the two. On the left here is the stock configuration, which is the single magnet, and on the right I added two 2mm by 12mm neodymium magnets, and it gives it just that extra little bit of strength and tactile feedback. I'd recommend it, but it's fine without them too. The shifter paddles are solid carbon fiber, and there's zero flex. Feels really sturdy. Talking about the buttons, I opted to go for the cheaper buttons instead of the knitter switches, and honestly, I don't see a reason to get the knitter switches. These buttons feel fantastic. Huge upgrade to the T300 RS buttons, and there's still a really good tactile feel even with gloves, so I'd recommend just getting the cheaper version. Speaking of functionality, there are 8 buttons, 2 funky switches, and 2 rotary encoders. The funky switches, there are up, down, left, right, and then you can twist it left and right and click it. And the rotary encoders twist left and right and also click. So, adding that all up, you get 28 functions. I'm a fan of the button placement because you can reach the 4 buttons without looking, just using your thumb. And the funky keys are also really easy to reach. I do have to take my hand off the wheel for the rotary encoders, but that's not a big deal. I was able to directly mount it to the hub of my VRS Direct Force Pro. The screws were the perfect length for that. But if you need something longer, out of the box they actually include 6 extra screws that are a little bit longer with nuts that go with them. The cable that comes with it is really high quality. It comes with those locking mechanisms on either side so that it won't come loose. And it also comes with this really nifty mechanism that you can mount directly to your 80/20 rig, and you just screw in the other side of the adapter to that. Now on to my absolutely favorite part of this wheel. The LEDs are utterly amazing. They're so bright, you can just see them out of your peripheral vision, and it's only an extra, I think, $25, $30 on top of the base version, so I'd highly recommend getting the LED version. You download the software that you get with your instructions, and that actually allows you to customize the colors of the LEDs depending on which car and which game you're in. You can see that here. You can make them really any color you want. After testing this for a few days, I am really happy with it still, and I'd recommend it to anyone on a budget. The magnetic shifters and the LED strip just makes it really a new experience, and I'm having a lot more fun driving ACC now. As far as cons go, I don't really have any gripes with it. I mean, obviously the quality of materials isn't quite as good as an Asher racing wheel or a Cube control wheel, but it's still really good. The 3D printing, it looks really good, but it doesn't look quite as good as carbon fiber would look or aluminum would look. And the only other thing I noticed was on the funky switches, when you turn it left or right, like when you rotate it, occasionally it doesn't register. So you'll click it 3 times to the right, and then the 4th time you'll click it, it won't register. And I've only had that happen in ACC, so I'm not sure if that's specific to ACC or if that's just a property of the switches they're using, but it's not a big deal either way. As far as shipping goes, it cost me $40 to get it shipped here to the US, so that was a total of $415, and it shipped the next day, and they used DHL, and it got here within 4 days for me. So really impressed with the shipping time as well. If you are in the US, I'd recommend messaging them on Facebook Messenger, and they'll show you how to order without paying the VAT. That'll save you some money. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just leave me a comment and I'll try to respond. Yeah, if you guys are on a budget and looking for a good wheel, this is a really good choice.